Hey, what's up everybody, Blade here, and welcome back to another video of Persona 5 The Phantom X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going over Summer Marian, or Beachflower Marian, seeing that this character has just now released on the global inn, and I thought what better time to at least talk about this than now. I've gotten a lot of comments deciding on if they should be pulling for her, if they shouldn't pull for her, and so I decided to try to make this video to try to clear up some things immediately. But before we get straight into it, you guys have to understand, at the end of the day, it's your account. You guys want to have some fun, do what you like to do, summon on whatever you want. At the end of the day, it is meant to be fun. It is a game meant to be enjoyed. So I am mainly trying to help you guys if you do want some of that more competitive thought process. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So Beachflower Marian, or Summer Marian, whoever you depend on actually calling her, is a character that not only allows you to help out with your overall damage, but also supports in different ways with crit damage and other options. Due to her special gimmick, which allows her to use an item list here, she's able to not consume up a turn while also giving you tons of different items to choose from. That can be situational, whether it's for healing or whether it's for just different buffs on your said DPS. This is probably one of the few characters that I kind of regret not A16 off the bat here, mainly because I just don't have bands to be throwing around like that. But at the same time, she is a character that is immensely good. With her supportive nature, it actually kept her at the top of many tier lists for at least a whole year when she ended up releasing, and only recently has moved down from the release emergence of Starlight Joker. Now, she is an insanely great character. This is one unit that has a lot of potential that you can easily work with at A0. I recently got her to A1 for the anniversary because they gave us a free little duplicate, and don't worry about the cards there. I was doing some guild boss stuff a little while ago, but I recently got her A1, and so she was like pretty darn good at A0. You didn't have to have any dupes, and she's one of the few characters that if you just want to get the bare minimum, she does just that. You do perfectly fine at the A0 marker, and there's no need to go any further. But for some of you guys, you need a little bit more in-depth onto knowing what this character can do and how she really can perform. So at least going over how this character does go, she's not only able to just give you your basic buffs, but she can provide even defense downs when it does come down to at least using some of her skills. Depending on what you're doing at hand, this character is just doing a little bit of everything in your team, and it truly can just decide on if you can be even stronger than normally possible. And that's the cool thing about her actual whole kit, is with the things that she's able to do, such as like going ahead and giving you a really huge crit rate critical damage buff, going all the way from healing and such like that, along as well defense downing people. It's kind of one of those characters that just has every last bundled up great thing into one area. So the first thing I want to actually check out here is going to be her passives. Checking out the first passives, which is called Care here. This is the one that on global should be called Blossoms of Beach, if I'm correct here. This one gives you a increased attack percentage by 12%. And then for every last type of buff that is granted by the potent medicine, which is your extra drugs that you're able to use after your skill 3, or on global, I think you're automatically able to use it because they made it a passive here. It increases their attack by 15%. Now this is a cool deal because no matter what's happening, as long as you are granting a buff with the potent medicine, you're getting the attack increase. Pretty nice, nothing too crazy. But the other one here is the one that I also like as well, called Prey, or Soothing Sunlight, where every time a skill is used on allies, it then grants one blessed stack to the target. And whenever Beachflower Marian is actually present, she's then able to at least give a blessing stack on the allies, which increases a damage amount. Now this starts at 6% going up to 36%, which is very helpful. And this is just in her passive, where she's already giving your team a decent buff that can be present throughout the entire battle and stacked throughout the entire battle. Pair this with some of her newer skills, or either her best skill being the Gentle Sea Breeze, or Flowers for the other side. This one gives you a whole critical rate increase for one person, while also going ahead and increasing your critical damage. As long as her critical damage multiplier is over a decent 100%, you're then going to be able to at least give yourself more said multiplier that will last for 3 whole turns. Now, originally, This was something that you had to activate, and the next turn after was where you're then going to be able to pick like your items, or like 2 turns after you're going to be able to pick your items and so. And it really kind of bounded you into like a turn basis, where I think it was like always on turn 2 to turn 4, and you had to always kind of keep that thing around that area. Well, on global, you're automatically able to kind of use this in her A3 form, or I mean her A0 form, in which this allows you now to just kind of change the turn basis on when you're able to use your items, or at least your item list, which is going to be a lot more better. Now, the cool part about this is the character that you didn't use an item on later down the line, they actually get an extra critical damage buff, which is pretty darn interesting. Now, on the topic of critical damage, because I know a lot of people really do say, why don't we just use Wind Vast? The critical damage side, if you're going for cap only on crit damage, Wind Vast does provide the higher crit damage multiplier. Though, the reason why this character is better than Wind Vast is not only because of the critical damage she is providing, but is the overall amount that she can do. She's already giving you a passive of just attack percentage, increase in damage. She's giving you, of course, the critical rate buff and the critical damage buff, and this is without getting into any of the items just yet. So this character literally kind of just diffed in options of doing everything, but in the option of us being able to do outright crit damage for some of my people who are out there, you're usually going to choose Wind Vast. Though later teams are wanting a little bit of everything. They need like items like crazy. They're going to start lots of guild boss / SOS things are going to start changing and melding into a different way of playing for strategy. Now we go on to the skill 2, which is Summer Garden or Midsummer Flower Field here. This increases your party damage by 7.8%. For me, it's 8.6%, and it goes all the way up as well as to 3.2 extra increase. Now, this is going to be based for every 1,200 max HP that you have on this character, making her a little bit max HP reliant. But this allows you not only to get that party damage, but it gives you a blessing stack. So you're also getting a little bit more of that attack percent once again, or damage increase once again from the passive. So your skill 3 and skill 2 kind of work always hand in hand. Then just a little bit of the icing on the cake, we have the skill 1, which is an AoE damage move here, and this increases the the damage attack here. That is going to be great, and this is going to be based on the amount of, at least, what's it called? This is going to be based on the max HP for her as well. So your attack power is going to be going up and down. Cool part about this here is, let's say you decided to hit an enemy, right? And you have the A2. Well, by going ahead and using this here, you're also able to take down their defense even from the A2, seeing that the A2 is giving you a defensive, decrease as well, which is pretty darn cool. Now, overall, at base A0, she already has everything she needs. This is more than enough. You don't need anything. So I would immediately say, just based off of this is the summon. Loot Bar. Lootbar.com is a top-up website that is trusted, secure, and immensely cheaper than most in-game stores, which many of you may have heard inside of multiple gacha communities. Not only are they amazing at what they do, but they're also pretty darn quick, and if you really want to save up to like 20% off on most of your game's currency or in-game items, this might be the place you want to go. Now, I normally use this for most of my games, or my main ones being 7DS Origins and P5X, and the way they usually do this is by using the official top-up channels, unlike unauthorized sellers do. Everything is pretty much a nice way to get you something cheaper here, while also getting you a little bit extra for your buck. That's always something I like to do, and as a person who is a little bit of a cheapskate, I will do everything I need to do in order to get my packs for the cheapest price I can. They're pretty effective and quick, so if you want to save some extra bucks while enjoying your game, this may be the way to go. I practically use them all the time, and if you'd like to go ahead and do so as well, you can make an account or continue on your current account, and I'll have my link down below. So if any of you guys are really interested, be sure to click that link down below, and you should get some discounts just like mine's above here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. If you decided to support, thank you once again, and let's go ahead and get back to the video. But if you guys want a little bit more convincing here, we're going to go ahead and check out the weapon, because I do know The character itself is a summon, but if we're looking at the weapon, this is where things get a little bit wishy-washy. Now, during the live stream, we were seeing that hopefully the weapon got buffed here, because currently it does seem like the weapon is more of a skip. The reason why I still say this weapon is a summon is because your supporters are always your main go-to thing, and you always want to have them at their tip-top performance in order to make sure they're keeping your entire team pretty much safe. Supporters and navies are kind of like the core of your team, in which this weapon is very much so worth getting. Seeing that not only is it increasing your medicine's effects by 20%, but you're also allowing yourself, whenever you're using the medicine on an ally, to buff your critical damage by 15.3%. This is a huge deal. This is a very nice deal to actually have. Now, I have, of course, a dupe on it, so it says 19.9%, but if we go ahead and go back, it's at 15.3. So this is going to be for 3 whole turns, which will cover, of course, your medicine turn count, especially if you are like A0. It covers that turn count for when you can go ahead and overlap another medicine later on to keep this said buff. Of course, once we're using a skill on an ally, it then increases the main target's attack percent by 10%, which isn't very much, but it still is enough to help out your DPS and just help out your team overall. Now, granted, if you're a person who just cares about base stats itself here, the 4-star weapon is more than enough too, because technically the medicine effects, to some extent, you do not need them at their tip-top performance, which is why a lot of people keep saying this 5-star weapon is somewhat a skip. Reason being here, because on the 4-star weapon, which we can take a look at right here, the 4-star weapon is already giving you a max HP amount, and this can go up to a 24%. Max HP is something that this character does need a little bit, so it does kind of help you out in your overall selection. But whenever you are using a skill on an ally, she's also giving you a critical damage multiplier by 33%. You are going to be using a item. So technically the main counterpoint to that 5-star weapon, which was the 15% critical damage after using the medicine, this is already getting negated by the 4-star weapon, which is why a lot of people are saying the 5-star is a skip. For me personally, and I'm just gonna go because technically they are right, the 5-star weapon is a skip. For me personally, I love my supporters being tip-top performance, so I do prefer getting the 5-star weapon. But if we're thinking about this logically, the 4-star weapon technically is better in the option of you already get your critical damage margins, you have your HP, so she's a little bit tankier while also helping out her teammates, so you can skip the weapon. But I think that's the only thing I could probably say about that. Personally though, this character for me, and I'm going to try to get them on my global as well, she's overall a summon. I think this is a must summon character. She's going to be used in plenty of teams in the future, and she only recently has started to, I wouldn't even say die off, because she still is very prominent here, but she only recently has gotten knocked out of the top tier T0 area of the CN, TW, and KR side of things. It's not because the character's bad. It is a year-long character that's been here for quite a while, but we just had a huge support buff being the level 100 twins, as well as the Joker Starlight. Those characters just deal so much or do so much for a team that it's honestly insane. But it doesn't downplay this character's worth. I would suggest a lot of you guys to go ahead and summon for her, and if you wanted to stay on the weapon, you can skip the weapon. Though if you want her in tip-top shape, get the weapon as well. But with that out of the way, hopefully you guys did find this video very informational and helpful. And until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay sharp. Peace out.